Gender in Anime by Ariana Lombardo. What is anime? A Japanese created show or movie that is animated by a computer or by hand drawing it. In other words, a Japanese cartoon. What is gender? The official definition is masculine or feminine. My personal definition is what one identifies as. Man, woman, transgender, genderless, whatever. Anime genres. Anime has many different genres, such as fantasy, horror, action. But there's also other genres that, judging by them, you could tell what gender is made to be watched by. These are some of them. Shonen is a genre generated towards male boys. This particular picture is from one known as One Piece, an anime about pirates, which has very much preferred human with big breasts and other furry jokes, and the main character Luffy, the one with the straw hat here, often asking other creatures how they poop, along with other crude humor. Shoujo anime directed towards females, women, is usually based on romantic plots. This one particular skip beat includes a love triangle between the main character here and these two males. Kind of like and things like Hunger Games and Twilight, where there's love triangles. It doesn't generally have any action, as they're in show business, though it does include some singing and acting, which is really gender neutral in that aspect. Shonen is directed towards girls. Despite having the name shonen, derived from shonen, made for males, it is actually directed towards girls, due to usually being about two males in love. This one's from an anime called Loveless, which is, it's kind of strange having two characters be connected in ways with battles. Hard to explain. But it's mainly about this boy here falling in love with this man. Shoujo Ai. Like Shonen, despite having shoujo in its name, it's actually directed towards boys and is usually about two girls falling in love. While I've never seen Burst Angel, I can't say anything about it. But it's genre Shoujo Ai, meaning it's most likely has at least a subplot of two girls falling in love. But do note how, compared to Loveless, where you can see that the characters are dressed, and it really does not show them usually stripped or anything in it. In Burst Angel's picture, you can see that the women's breasts are popping out, and they put a lot of emphasis on them, along with skimpy outfits. Yaoi. This is a much more hardcore form of Shonen Ai. While Shonen Ai usually doesn't go farther than kissing, this usually includes sexual scenes like the one presented here. This is from some anime called Haruo Taita, which I've never seen, but it's obvious what happens in it. Much like Yaoi, Yuri is the worse form of Shoujo Ai. Again, Yaoi is directed towards girls, Yuri directed towards boys, and usually includes sexual scenes between two girls, while Yaoi is between two guys. Next we have harems. A harem is usually a single guy, which in this case, from the anime Infinite Stratos, this character, amongst a harem of girls, which in his harem he has 5. At least in the first season. Infinite Stratos plot is very interesting, and I've seen the anime, the first season at least, in that the main character, whose name I kind of forgot, he's the only one that could pilot these machines that are made to only be piloted by girls. So he gets sent to a school that trains them to pilot them, and he's the only guy there. Simple. Reverse harems are this is the same thing as a harem, it's just a girl surrounded by a group of guys. This particular one, Hakugi Shinsengumi, is about this girl, the main character, ends up involved in a group of male samurais. As opposed to a normal harem, where, while not as apparent in this picture, as you see, the girls tend to wear shorter things, some of them at least. They also tend to have big breasts, or, in some cases, such as this character right here, there's actually scenes where they're shown naked. Not in full detail, more like Barbies, but in a reverse harem, you will never see a naked guy. Most you usually see is them shirtless, and even then that can sometimes be rare, depending on the anime. And also, the heroines are usually about the same way they act. Usually cute appearance, they're not overly sexualized, and usually very kind and caring. And then we have ecchi. As you can see, it looks like samurai towards guys, because it is. This is actually a very interesting plot, High School of the Dead, where it's kids in high school have to deal with a sudden zombie apocalypse. And let's face it, everyone loves those. Of course, it's very perverted, where there's even a scene with a woman using her breasts as a pillow. Ecchi is known for its large amount of pervertedness, usually including very large breasts and disturbing shots of girls' panties. The only thing that's probably worse than it would be actual hentai, which is just which has sex in it, showing sex scenes. Oops, sorry. Okay. Now EBJ and lovely panty shots, which is excessive boob jiggling. Which is literally an anime when a girl's breast move excessively in a very unnatural way. And then low with panty shots is when the anime shows a girl's panties, usually outlining what they are covering. Not a nice thing to see. Why does it matter? This is important because this is common in some animes that girls may want to watch, such as High School of the Dead anime. It's interested in me, but I'm immediately scared away by the amount of the shots of their unnaturally large breasts and the amounts of shots of their panties they show. Of course, this stuff kind of thing is more common in ecchi, though that's not the only problem in animes. There's just general actions in anime. Some general actions in anime, usually the ones generated towards guys, or even girls, will have the girls dress in things like skirts or dresses, or very feminine clothing. Even the tomboys. And even when the woman is dressed more masculine ways are found to point out that they're supposed to be feminine. Some examples are mainly from Naruto, Tenten. As you can see, early in the series, she wears a pink shirt, even though she's dressed very tomboy. See? Well, in the second part, she's a little bit more on the tomboy side, but as you see, her facial features look much more feminine. While this is from actually a Shoujo Ai, the character is actually at one point mistaken for a girl. And considering it's a show about guys pretty much falling in love with other guys, they just had to make one guy as feminine. Couldn't have them all be masculine. Another example from Naruto, Hinata. As you can see, when she has early on in the series, she has short hair, jacket that hides her. But important thing to note, for starters, later on, because it's much more feminine, it's also very widely noted that out of the main group of girls that are young, she has the largest breasts, which some points are made quite often in the manga and anime. Manga being a comic book version of the animes, usually what animes are based off of. Tsunade. As you can see, very, other than her v-neck shirt, she has a masculine type of clothing. Large jacket, pants, just a shirt, but oversized breasts they make a point of, even as a child. From Pokemon, we have Misty. Early in the series, they give her, she actually has a title in the video game series that the show is based off of, called the Tomboyish Mermaid. But they do things like this in the anime with large breasts, which is actually not as defined, at least not in this picture. But as you can see here, and the fact that her stomach's showing, it makes her much more feminine. May, again, here, like for a moment, looks like she has a skirt on, and they make a point of making it look like a dress later on. And again, very defined breasts. Please note these characters are usually about 10 years old in the anime. Iris, probably the most, probably one that acts most like what boys supposed to act like. She often plays out in the wild, jumping around in trees, and not afraid of getting dirty or anything like that. However, they make a point of putting her in pink with bows. Now the problem with the genres. Problem with genres is that despite staying for a certain gender, they will have plots that attract both genders. Best example of this is Inu X Boku SS. The anime itself is a love story, something usually associated with girls. Action from some of the characters themselves are things that would presumably not interest guys. However, at the same time, by having large-breasted women obsessing over other girls, makes the anime obviously directed more towards male audience. The anime also has a demoralizing aspect to a male character placing a female character on a leash and chaining with her not caring. So, the characters. As you see, this man has her on a chain and leash, but as long as she's getting food, she honestly does not really care. You have this woman. She has an obsession with other girls, dressing them up and stuff. Of course, the anime is about this couple. And what do you know? Main character, the girl, is wearing a skirt or dress. And at several points in the anime, when she's sleeping, she wears a large t-shirt, which is usually a large shirt that's usually unbuttoned to a point where you can actually see a little bit of her breast. At the same time, there are aspects where the female's more demoralized than men, such as her keeping these two in check, and this one being stronger than this guy. But at the same time, there's very many demoralizing aspects of women. Again, large breasts that jiggle way too much, and actually as seen with this one and this blonde woman poking each other's breasts. Of course, not all anime is sexist, just a good majority. Revolutionary Girl Utena is a shoujo anime. However, despite this, rather than being a normal romance between a guy and a girl, it is more between two girls showed best in the movie where they kiss and other romantic actions. The Fire-Brain Kami no Puzzle, a shonen anime, does well to break this pattern, and has much more respect towards female audience that may be watching it. The jokes this presents usually are non-sexual, with the exception of a joke here and there relating to a character, anagram. A boy who looks so much like a girl that the characters often forget that he's a boy. If anything, the anime actually has more homosexual undertones. So, Revolutionary Girl Utena, the main character, dresses as a boy because she was inspired by a prince when she was young, decided she wanted to be a prince. But she acts like a girl. at the same time as acting like a boy, and she fights pretty much for the right to own this one, which in itself is demoralizing. That this woman here, the Rose Princess, gets passed around by whoever wins these battles, and winner gets to do whatever they want with her. At the beginning, there is a male character who's her current fiance, or I'm not quite sure, that literally slaps her around. So this is from Kami no Puzzle. Some of the main characters, Cubic, also known as Edison, Gammon, also known as Galileo, Anagram, who looks like a girl, but is actually a boy, also known as Da Vinci, and Kaito, the main character, also known as Einstein. Titles are given out their school for being good at certain things. And again, then with their titles, Da Vinci, Einstein, Edison, Galileo. And this is another main character, Nonoha, who is probably one of the most interesting characters as in the anime. She does many sports, is strong, and literally at one point actually swims all the way to an island, which is a long distance. So, and then homosexual undertones. There is actually scenes with these two that can be considered very homosexual, but this character Rook has a large obsession with Kaito that can almost be considered as love. The same with this character here, Free Cell. Again, has a large obsession with Kaito. Well, I have a picture of him here. There's another character who themselves has an obsession with Free Cell for quite a while, and kind of still does, but becomes more friendly later on. Again, they do make jokes, but Gammon dresses a girl for a competition, and it's probably the only time I can remember ever seeing breast jiggle in anime. Most likely because his are fake. But I can't remember a single time where the actual females moves. This is a scene where Kaito no Nonoha dressed for a play, her as a prince, him as a princess. Of course, at the same time, it does have him holding her like the prince should be doing, but in the same time, it could also be reversed to say that princess can be strong too. Showing Nonoha's skills, and then Anna dressed as a boy in heels without even giving a crap. And then the joke Anna being guy when it looks like a girl. Like I said, there's not really, other than maybe the occasional outfits, not really many things against girls. Since it's concentrated more on making more homosexual undertones. Like this scene where Kaito is freaking out at Anna being in the bath with him. Oh, sorry. Now, Betty Freeman's feministic and anime. It is perhaps beside the point to remark that bowling alleys, supermarkets have nursery facilities, while schools and colleges, scientific laboratories, and government offices do not. Sorry. Anime is generated towards men. How I see anime relating to this quote is anime is generated towards men will have a plot centered on romance with little or no action. However, anime is generated towards women won't have crude humor, such as that in One Piece, or too much violence. The exception to this being Hakugi Shinsengumi, since it actually does have a lot of gore, considering they are samurais fighting other samurais. Regardless, the plot itself concentrates on the relationships with the heroine and the male characters. The key to the trap is, of course, education. The feminine mystique has made higher education for women seem suspect, unnecessary, and even dangerous. But I think that education, and only education, has saved and can continue to save American women from the greater dangers of the feminine mystique. To me, this connects to animes like Fire Brain, that breaks some of the norms of animes generated and shown in animes. In a way, this also reconnects to Hakugi with its large amount of blood present in it. Normally, we wouldn't expect girls to like animes with lots of blood, or pretty much anything, because girls should actually be afraid of that stuff, which is ironic considering there used to be a lot of nurses back in the wars. But also with Firebrain again, how you wouldn't expect any of the girls to be strong. Back to Nonoha, she's actually has a photographic memory, which actually helps them a lot in the show. It is wrong to keep spelling out unnecessary choices that make women unconsciously resist either commitment or motherhood, and that hold back recognition of needed social changes. To compare this to anime, one could ask if it is wrong to point out the problems with anime to those who refuse to see them or just brush them off. Some really just don't give a crap and just brush off the amount of offensiveness to females and to women in anime. Well, some are actually bothered. Like me personally, High School of the Dead, I would love to watch it more, but I don't have any incentive to want to watch it as much due to the large amount of breasts moving unnaturally and disturbing shots of the girls' panties. The feminist revolution had to be fought because women quite simply were stopped at a state of evolution far short of their human capacity. Anime has much more potential. However, no one says anything, it's just given how it is. Again, things like Inu X Boku have wonderful plots, and when I watched it, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, there's just some things that can be disturbing, such as the girls poking each other's breasts, and the demoralizing aspect of chaining a girl on a leash and collar and her being content with it just because she's getting food. The feminists had destroyed the old image of women, but they could not erase the hostility, the prejudice, the discrimination that still remained. Despite some animes changing how things are done, there are still despite some animes going against the norms, such as Firebrain, there are still that many that are new that continue to gain women and making them seem feminine even when they're masculine. Let's see. And this is a shot from the Hakuki Shinsengumi, I'm assuming game. That was just a drawn picture, but you can see blood because the show does have a kind of a subplot. Part of it is they become vampires or demons. But it's very gory. So, overall, anime is sexist in the end. Even with anime generated towards girls, you generally don't see half the stuff that you'll see in the males animes. There's such as an anime named Free, generated towards girls, being concentrated guys. Their humor is more of one of the characters, every time he hears pool, he takes off his shirt and is wearing his swim trunks. But you don't really see anything past their chests, as opposed to anime generated towards guys where you will literally see full nude for a girl.